In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this super cute no-sew crocheted panda. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm really excited to give you guys an updated tutorial on this because I actually have a older tutorial on my panda from like 3 years ago now, and I did update a lot of the pattern when I was writing the written pattern, which will be available on Etsy by the time this video goes up, by the way. So I decided to make an updated video tutorial to go along with that written pattern, and that is what this is going to be. So we are going to start out by going through all the materials you need to make the panda, and then we'll get into making it. It's a pretty quick and easy project. Again, it's no-sew, so perfect for market prepping and gifting and everything like that. Let's just get right into the yarn you're going to need, and then we'll go into materials. For this project, I like to use a weight 6 super bulky yarn, so I use black yarn, and this is just a burnout blanket yarn. And then I have this white, which is also a weight 6 super bulky yarn, and these are all just burnout blanket or baby blanket. And then I have optionally some pink yarn that I will be using for the blush. You don't have to add the blush, but I think it looks super cute. So those are the yarns I'm going to be using, and you can use a different kind of yarn, but it will come out different and you'll have to adjust your hook size accordingly. And then for materials, I will be using a 8mm crochet hook. I like to use 8mm usually for my plushies, but you can also use a 6mm with this same yarn. It will just come out a little bit smaller. I then have a stitch marker, a tapestry needle, some scissors, and then I'll also be using some stuffing. And then I have two 16mm safety eyes and their backs. I have also used 12mm for this, and it turns out cute as well, but I'm going to be using 16mm today. And that is all the materials we're going to need to make the panda. So now that we have those, we are going to get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with our white yarn, and we're going to make a magic ring, but you can also make a chain too if you don't like doing magic rings. But I'm just going to do a magic ring to start. And then we're going to start by putting 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So I'm just going to show you how to do one single crochet, but if you've never done a single crochet or crocheted before, definitely go learn those basics before you try this tutorial. So we're going to go into the magic ring with our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. That's one single crochet, so we're going to do it 5 more times for a total of 6 in round 1. Once you're done your 6 single crochets, just close up the magic ring, and I always secure mine with a few knots. And then we'll be starting round 2. So for round 2, we are going to start by putting 1 single crochet into the first stitch from round 1. And then we'll add our stitch marker into that stitch. And then I'm going to actually be putting 1 more single crochet into that very same stitch for an increase. And that is what we will be repeating around for round 2. So we will be doing an increase in every stitch around. So that will be a total of 6 increases or 12 stitches at the end of round 2. For round 3, we are going to need our black yarn ready, so just have that to the side. But we're going to start by putting 1 single crochet into the first stitch and a increase into the next stitch, but you don't want to fully finish the second stitch. So when you make the second stitch, just pull up a loop, but don't yarn over and pull through both of them to finish the stitch. Instead, we're going to grab our black yarn and we're going to put that onto our hook to finish the stitch. And that will be our color change. So we'll end up securing this at the end of the round. But for now, we are going to do a bobble stitch to make one of the panda's ears. So to do that, we're going to yarn over, go into both loops of the next stitch. You can also just go into the front loop if you want them to stick out more, but I'm not going to do that for this one. So then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll repeat that 3 more times for a total of 4. So just go ahead and repeat that. You're basically making double crochets but not finishing them. And I've now completed 4 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have the initial loop, which is 5. So now instead of yarning over with the black and pulling through, we're going to grab our white yarn again. And we're going to yarn over using that and pull through all the loops on the hook. Just make sure that you pull the stitch over so that you can find the correct next stitch. And we're going to be putting an increase into this stitch. So just make sure this is all nice and tight so that there's no holes or gaps or anything around the ear. And just make an increase. And then we'll be doing single crochet followed by an increase 2 more times. And then before you complete the final stitch of the increase, you're going to color change to black again. And then we'll just be doing another bobble stitch to make the second ear. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and repeat that 3 more times for a total of 4. And then instead of using the black to pull through all the loops, we're going to use the white again. So just grab your white yarn and yarn over, and then pull through all the loops on your hook. Then we're going to finish out this round by doing a increase in the very next stitch. And then a single crochet, and then an increase. So the entire pattern of round 3 is single crochet increase, except for the bobbles just count as the 1 single crochet, so that's why we follow it right with a increase after. So you should be left with 18 stitches in round 3 now, and we have our ears attached. So I'm just going to tie this initial black yarn we added with the magic ring white yarn, just so that it's nice and secure. And I'm going to keep the black attached. You can cut it off if you want to, because we won't need it for a few more rounds, but we will need it again eventually. So if you just want to leave it on, I find it easier. For round 4, 5, and 6, we are just going to be putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. So that will be 18 stitches all the way around for a total of 3 rounds, so 4, 5, and 6. And then we will be starting our color changing again. So we are just going to do 3 rounds, just putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now off camera, but you can go ahead and do that, and once you're done, come back and we will continue. Okay, so I just finished my 3 rounds, so now I'm on to round 7, but I'm not going to finish the last stitch because we're going to be color changed into black. So you can do that now, but first I'm going to attach the eyes. So you want to flip the project so that the hook is on the back, and we are just going to grab our eyes, and you want to place the eyes between rounds 4 and 5, 3 to 4 stitches apart. So just count down from the top to rounds 4 and 5. So right in here, and then you want to put them around 3 or 4 stitches apart. You want enough room in between the eyes to attach the nose at the end, so just kind of put them where you think they look good. And if you'll notice, there's a little bit of black right here. I'm going to show you guys how to cover that up at the end, but if you have a different method of color changing or whatever that can't hide that, just do that instead. But I am going to show you guys how to fix that at the end. This is about where I'd like to place my eyes, so I'm going to go ahead and add the backs on. And now that our backs are attached onto the eyes, we are going to color change to black. So mine's still attached, so I'm just going to grab it and reattach it just like that. And you just want to make sure none of these strands are too tight in here. So we are going to be starting round 7 now. We are going to be making the first set of like arms or legs in this round. So you're going to want to start by just doing 6 single crochets. And I'm not going to add my stitch marker for the next few rounds just because we're color changing, so it's pretty easy to tell where the round changes, but if you want to add it, just go ahead. But I'm going to do 6 single crochets to start. And now that we have our 6 single crochets, we are going to be making a bobble stitch. So just like we made for the ears, it's the exact same, just to do the first arm. And I am going to use the black yarn to yarn over and pull through all those loops because we're not color changing on this round. And then once you have your bobble, we are going to do 4 single crochets in between, and then we'll make another bobble. But first you just want to do 4 single crochets. And then we will do our second bobble. And then to finish out the round, we're going to be doing 6 single crochets. And we're not going to finish out the final single crochet because we're going to be color changing for round 8. So just go ahead and color change back to white. And then for round 8, it's pretty simple. We're just going to be putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around for a total of 18 in round 8. And this will be using our white yarn, and then at the end we'll be color changing back to our black. Alright, so I'm just going to color change back to black now, and we're going to be making the legs in this round. So to start out, we're going to do 6 single crochets, but just so you guys know, you might have to shift the bobble stitches over 1 in this round depending on your tension. So I'm just going to start by doing 6, and then if I need to adjust that by doing 1 less or 1 more, I will. So I've done my 6 singles, so that would mean if I was to do the bobble stitches, I would be doing them right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and doing it right here. Honestly, that looks good to me, but sometimes you do need to shift them over by 1, so that would mean doing 1 more single crochet here, but I think I'm going to place mine here and here for now, and if it doesn't look good, I'll go back and fix it. You want the top legs and the bottom legs, or the arms and the legs, to be aligned with each other as much as possible. So just complete your bobble stitch. And then we'll be doing 4 single crochets in between. And then our final bobble stitch. And then to get back to the start of the round, we will just be doing 6 single crochets to stay faster. And we will be color changing back to white at the end of this round. And once you're done the round, you can also cut off and secure the black yarn. So I'm just gonna color change here, and then I'll pull my black yarn and I'm going to cut it. And before going any further, I am going to secure the black yarn into the project, and to do that I'm just going to grab one of the other strands of yarn I have in here and tie it to the black yarn. And again, you just don't want to make sure any of this is done too tight or else it will kind of deform the plushie, but this is my favorite method of just securing those in there. Now that we are done our arms and legs, we are going to begin decreasing the project to finish it up. So to start out, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet. And you will now want to add your stitch marker. And then in the next 2 stitches, we will be doing a decrease. So you want to go into the front loop only when we do decreases. So instead of going into the full V here, we're just going to go into that very front loop. You want to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then go into the next front loop. Yarn over, pull up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And that is a invisible decrease. So that is what we will be repeating all the way around. So 1 single crochet followed by a decrease, a total of 6 times for 12 stitches at the end of round 10. Alright, so I just finished round 10 and we do have one more round before the end, but I am going to go ahead and embroider the details before I stuff it and sew it up, just because I find it way easier to do that before it's all closed up. You can do the embroidery at the end if you want to, but I find it more difficult, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it now. So starting it with your black yarn, we're gonna cut off just a small strand of it. And we're going to start out by doing the nose. So you want to grab your tapestry needle and we're just going to add that onto the needle. And I'm going to be putting the nose right in between the 2 eyes in rounds 4 and 5. So just right in that middle stitch here. So to do that, we're going to put our needle inside the project and we're going to come out where we want the nose to start on one side. Pull the yarn almost all the way through, but not all the way through. And then we're going to go directly across to the other side so it's nice and even on both sides. So right about here. And we're going to put the needle back in and pull it out the bottom. And just make sure it looks how you would like it to. You can repeat it one more time if you want the nose to be a little bit thicker or rounder. I think I'm just going to leave mine with 1 strand though. So once you're happy with it, you can just detach the yarn from the tapestry needle and go ahead and tie the 2 strands in some knots. And then you can just tuck them in, or you can cut them shorter if you want to. Now the optional blush step. I'm going to grab a strand of pink yarn and I'm going to attach that to my tapestry needle now. And we're just going to be putting the blush right underneath the eye in the middle of the eye, so like right here, and then outwards. It will be kind of through round 6 of the project. So we're going to start by going into the project with our needle. Come out where you want the blush to start, and then you're going to want to pull the yarn almost all the way through, but not all the way through, and then pull it directly across and just go whatever length you want across, just maybe 1 stitch length, and then put the needle back in. I hope you could see that. And just make the little line of blush. I'm just going to do 1 line again for the blush, but you can do 2 if you want to, just go over it again. And I'm actually going to use this exact same yarn to go directly to the other side in through the bottom of the project. And I'm going to be making another line of blush right under the other eye, exactly the same as we did before. Just make sure not to pull that too tight. And just make sure they look fairly even there, and then you'll want to secure these 2 ends just like you did the other 2 ends. And then just tuck all those ends in. And this is what it should be looking like at this point. My pink yarn is very light, so you can't really see it as well on the camera, but it is there. And now we're going to do round 11 to finish our project. But first, I do recommend just adding a bit of stuffing. You can also stuff it at the very end, but it's easier to start out now. And once you have some stuffing in there, we're going to move on to round 11, which is just a decrease in every stitch all the way around. So you want to do a total of 6 decreases, and that will leave us with 6 stitches at the end of the round. Alright, so I've just finished round 11, so I'm going to stuff the project as full as I would like it to be. And I'm going to go ahead and chain and tie off the project. And make sure to leave a long enough tail to hide any of those black details that you don't want on there. And just cut the yarn. I totally won yarn chicken, guys. This is all the yarn I had left. But we're just going to add the yarn to the tapestry needle now. And we're going to close up the project by going into the front loops of every stitch from round 11 with our tapestry needle. So just weaving into all of those stitches. And then you'll just gently pull the yarn to close it up. And then I like to just go into a nearby stitch and secure this with a couple of knots. And then I also go into that same nearby stitch and I'm going to weave the yarn up through. I am going to come out right here just to hide that little imperfection with the black there. I also think this is somewhat due to the differences in my yarn textures. The white is very fluffy and soft, and my black is very rough and like almost stringy, so I think that could have to do with this. But I'm just going to quickly weave my needle through the white portions, and you want to be on the surface as much as possible with this so that it actually covers up the black with the white yarn. So I'm just going through all those little front loops of the white. I'm going to pull that through just gently. And you can see that hid that very nicely. I'm happy with that. I don't think I need to do that anywhere else either. So you can go ahead and tie this if you would like. I'm just going to go in right here though, and I am going to just hide this end through the project. All right, and this is our finished no-sew panda. It's so cute, and it's such a quick little project. It just fits in the palm of your hand, and I think it's so cute and perfect for market prepping. So like I mentioned to you guys at the start of the video, you can also grab the written pattern available on my Etsy, and I'll be coming up with a pattern bundle of all my no-sew plushie patterns very soon, so stay tuned for that, and this one will be in there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you made the panda and how it went for you. And don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe to see more tutorials like this one. I have so many tutorials here on the channel, so check them out if you're interested. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Guys, Vidya loves the panda, by the way.